All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Check Your Six. Amidst the continued coronavirus crisis and the end of all in-person events as we know it, for now, not to be too hyperbolic about it. Uh, but good thing we still have esports online and the collegiate scene, because as far as I know, no schools have been closing down and shutting off their teams, as much as I had heard of a few teams who were like, all intramural sports are canceled, but we're an esports team. Doesn't matter. That was solved, sorted out. They got to play their game, but a number of colleges are kicking their students out, and so we might see more forfeits coming up in the near future, which would really suck for a competitive scene.
See, I think the reason behind it is that, the cool thing about esports is it's all online. So like there's no need to go meet up and go out in the public or whatever. But what's happening is, these schools are canceling the seated classes, and they're moving towards online. So the kids are still in school, but they're doing it online. And so, with that being said, a lot of the parents are making their kids move back home to finish out the semester. Um, and with that, they're not taking all their stuff. And so, like, they don't have their computers and whatnot. And so they have to forfeit a bunch of matches. Um, I don't see why you'd make your kid come back home for that. I would just make them stay there and finish out the semester. But
I would too, but I mean, there's some schools that are closing even the dorms, so kids are having to organize a place to stay within like 2 days, and some
oh,
of
that's
them,
right. Yeah, they are.
yeah,
They are closing the dorms, aren't they? I
yeah,
know A&M
because
didn't. I know the A&M dorms are still open, but I know some schools are actually closing their dorms, um, which makes sense, because dorms are pretty close knit quarters, and if somebody with the coronavirus was in there, it could spread like wildfire throughout the building. So
yeah,
it makes
absolutely. I
sense.
mean, everyone's trying to do what's best or what they think is best in an extremely unprecedented situation. So, I mean, it sucks that that we're losing all of our traditional sports, and we're losing a lot of these in-person events like the Call of Duty League and the Overwatch League, and all of the different DreamHack events and this, that, and the other event going on. A number of collegiate lands like Volan was also canceled, so that sucks. I mean, all of this sucks. Like, it's not a good situation for anyone to be in, and unfortunately for these college Rainbow Six leagues, we're probably going to see quite a bit of shakeups that might not have happened otherwise. But I mean, them's the breaks, and we just have to move forward with it and kind of have that asterisk next to the season standings and be like, yeah, well, this team won, but dot dot dot, we had to deal with this.
Well, luckily, as of I think today, Trump declared a national emergency for the coronavirus.
Yep.
Um, and a lot of people are like, Trump's so dumb, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. People are too focused on the president himself,
Right.
and they don't actually focus on like what that means. Um, Declaring national emergency basically means that FEMA, which is like the something emergency medical association, something or other, or emergency situation, like agency, pretty much gives them a ridiculous amount of money. It gives them the opportunity to bring in a ton of doctors and medical experts and stuff like that. I think it gives each state like $50 billion towards medical services. Um, and I think that's an excellent starting point, at least, for tackling this problem head on. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah. Federal Emergency Management Agency, and it also allows groups like Medicaid to also loosen their restrictions so that people can be seen and treated and have some of their guidelines loosened, because otherwise Medicaid is really tight knit about who they can actually
Mm-hmm.
serve. So having this happen today is a good step forward, but yeah, I mean, it's still the situation that we're in, still not ideal.
No, I do. No.
I imagine you're seeing a bit of it on your off time from the podcast as well. So thank you
Yeah,
for dealing
but
with it.
luckily, the national treasure that is Betty White is safe. Just don't worry, people.
I'm more worried
I,
about
I, I
Tom
joke
Hanks.
I joke about that, but I've been reading a lot of articles and everything, and they have been making sure that people know that Betty White is in fact safe. I don't know why, but she's safe.
Tom Hanks too.
No, Tom Hanks is not safe. He has
Well,
the
he's
coronavirus.
he has the coronavirus, but he's quarantined with his wife, and you know that they're
That's
living
right.
well, and they are being treated and taken care of. So we have hope. Tom Hanks, Betty White, they're being taken care of. All is well in the world.
So, funny thing about Tom Hanks, right? As soon as I read about that, I went onto his Twitter and was looking around to see if he was saying anything about it. He does, but he has a very interesting Twitter. So I started scrolling through a lot of
Hold
his
on,
tweets.
just a second. Someone's ringing my doorbell.
Okay. Someone's ringing his doorbell at 9:50 p.m. But anyway, while he's gone, I'll talk about it. So Tom Hanks, right? He's scrolling through Twitter. I'm scrolling through Twitter, his Twitter, and pretty much all he does is post pictures of like lost socks or gloves that he finds.
Not what I was expecting.
But is everything okay?
Yeah, it was apparently a package at almost 10
That's
o'clock at night.
interesting. Did you open it up? I feel like
It's an Amazon thing.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah. But I was just telling everyone. So I was scrolling through Tom Hanks's Twitter, and all of his posts are random pictures of like lost shoes or socks or gloves, with like weird quotes to them. And I was just like, this is so weird. And then he always signs it Hanks with an X, like Hanx.
Celebrities, man.
It's very odd. I found it really odd, but I just thought it was interesting.
That's great. Let's see. Let's bring it back around to Rainbow
Collegiate.
Six.
Yeah.
Well, let's get Pro League out of the way. Got you retired. The end. Like, we're still in that Pro League drought, and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
we are. Yeah, we're still waiting. 2 weeks, 1 week. I think it's 1 week actually.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
remember
the 23rd or 24th, I believe. I guess
23rd.
2 weeks.
A week and
A week and
a
a half.
week and 2 days. A week and 2 days. March 23rd is when Pro League starts back up. So essentially, we have nothing until then on Pro League, unfortunately. But yeah, Gotcha put out a statement on Twitter the other day, stating, I think it was yesterday, stating that he's retiring from Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the tweet.
Some good
now,
and bad things to say about that.
Yeah, why don't you? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, Gotcha, contributed a lot to the Rainbow Six community, and it's everyone's pretty sad to see him leave. But there's also a lot of talk saying like, oh, good riddance, blah blah blah, about Gotcha, with his whole controversial existence in the pro league scene. He was good on EG for a long time, and then it's like take everything that I say from here on out as a grain of salt. I'm not saying that any of this is true or whatnot. This is just how it has been seen throughout the community. So, he was good as a coach on EG. He was very good. And then for some reason, he decided that like he really wanted to play. And so he started taking these weird these weird tactics toward being a player. I know he subbed on EG for a little bit, and then he left EG, and then he went to TSM as a coach, and that's okay. You know, that was all fine and dandy. And then they had picked up Jarvis as one of their players on TSM, and you know, he played it was a very brief stint on TSM. Jarvis's stint on TSM. He came in, played through DreamHack Montreal. They won it, and then all of a sudden Jarvis was dropped. Everyone's like, "What? Like, what? Where did this come from?" And you know, they're saying that it was a communications thing, which everyone kind of was like, "Okay, that's kind of BS," because if it was a communications issue, then they wouldn't have won DreamHack, right? But and then so with Jarvis being dropped, it allowed Gotcha to come in and play as a player on the team. And everyone's like, "Yeah, Gotcha, you know, playing blah blah blah. You know, he can play all this stuff." And he played for a long time, and they had plenty of time. They never bothered to look for a fifth, and that person's job was Gotcha's. His job is to look for a player to recommend to the owner, be like, "Hey, we want this player to play on our team." But it never happened. Everyone's like, "When are you guys picking up a fifth?" And Gotcha's like, "Oh, I don't know, you know." But everyone's like, "Okay, well, obviously this dude just, you know, it seems like this guy kicked Jarvis off just because he wanted to play."
Mm-hmm.
And he and you know, he did well as a player, but the thing is the way he went about it was wrong, and everyone kind of started to resent him for that. And then he left TSM and actually went to EG as a player. I guess EG kind of got the hint, and they were like, "Hey, come play for, you know, come to our team, we'll actually let you play." And he was like, "Okay, cool." And so he went to EG, and then once he started finally getting, you know, settled into the comp scene, he didn't do well at all.
Yeah.
At all. Didn't do good. And you know, their team sunk to the bottom real fast.
Fast and hard too. Like there was no doubt
Fast
about it.
and
It's not like they were.
yeah.
It's not like they were really competing with anyone else. Like I think, like Sonics was down there, and I think Reciprocity was struggling for a little bit, maybe halfway through one season. But like when he was playing, like they just boom to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Sunk really hard and really fast. And then at the end of the season, EG was like, "Okay, obviously you're not meant to be a player, so we're going to bench you." So he got kicked from EG. And then I think Gotcha was kind of like, "Okay, well, I obviously can't go back as a coach because I've got this reputation now. And I can't go back as a player because I'm not very good at, you know, pro league play. So I don't think I have any other choice but to retire." So I think he's going to retire. Well, I
Yeah,
don't think so. He did retire, you know.
he did
So
retire. In his statement, his twit longer, he posted that he had recently received an offer from a North American Pro League team to coach, but realized that it's not a financially stable position, and so I'll be officially retiring from the pro scene and going back to my normal job. Now, what you're mentioning about reputation and how it kind of precedes you, like in the games industry, everyone knows each other. If you are a loose cannon, if you're just not a good team player, it will haunt you for years until you get a chance to really redeem yourself. Esports is even tighter knit, and especially as you go into specific games and everything, teams and players and all of the admin know each other. Like there is no way that they don't know everyone's dirty laundry, everyone's weaknesses, everyone's like who they're struggling, how their personalities mesh or like oil and water with certain people. They know this stuff. So if any of that reputation is coming back to bite Gotcha, it's in this form. if he knows he can't go somewhere as a coach unless he's actually flaunting like an actual offer from a pro league team because they see something in him and maybe they need something from him. I could see the Sonics asking for a coach. I could see any of the other teams who haven't been nearly as successful could be like, he was successful-ish as a coach. It's better than where we are. Let's bring him in. So
there's no doubt about it. He
chances.
was, he was an excellent coach. He was good at what he did. But the moment he started to decide that he wanted to play, and the way he tried to go about it would just ruined him, unfortunately. I think he should have just stuck with what he did best, if he really wanted to play, then he should have went through the proper channels, be like, hey, like, actually, I want to, he should have talked to the owner, be like, hey, we need a fifth. And I really want to be that fifth, I want to be a player. And then hired a new coach, that would have been such a simple thing to go about and do, as with TSM. But yeah, I don't know what his thought process was when he did what he did.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that he's making this decision to leave, or at least leave Rainbow Six Esports. I don't know what his normal job is or was that he's going back to, but I can only imagine that it's going to be more difficult if he decides to try and come back into esports, specifically R6 esports. Because I mean, the reputation lingers and it stays around for a good long time, and I mean, esports isn't a financially safe place yet. Like, it's not an industry. It's not one that people will know will be around for 20 years, 30 years, for enough to have a full career, right? So it's a dangerous game he's playing if he is looking to come back into it.
Mm-hmm. I think he was an accountant. If I remember correctly, I feel like I was in a stream at one point, and I think he said that he was an accountant or something that had to do with numbers. Which makes sense on why he was good with coaching numbers and stuff like that. So,
yep, playing a little money ball.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for Pro League, really.
Yeah.
So we can jump into. I'm actually going to start with CR6. Now, it's maybe Syntax and I have been a little critical over the last few episodes about CR6, but here they are. I have found some data that I can use, and we can have a conversation, which is phenomenal. I love highlighting these teams, highlighting these matches, and we don't always get the ideal matches from one league or another. And with each league structure being so different, it provides some really cool opportunities for some great narratives. So here's the CR6 narrative among the teams who are 3-0 going into week 4. Now, there are already 2 teams that decidedly won their 4th week matchup. That's Texas Tech. They were up against Northeastern University, and they won 2-0. So they were, I believe they were the first 4-0 team for the season in this stage. So congrats, Texas Tech. They seemingly kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I've seen them pop up in a couple of different games across, just out of nowhere. Kind of Texas Tech is now becoming a very strong, or another very strong Texas school in esports. The second 4-0 team, which I'm surprised with, they've shown some great growth since last spring, Wisconsin Esports Red. So they're A team, Wisconsin State. They only have a round differential of 11 from their opponents, but they 2-0'd Clemson and their A team. So, like, they've got something going on. They've been playing winners after winners after winners all the way up to this point with how CR6 is structured. So they were both Texas Tech and Wisconsin played only other 3-0 teams. So even though Northeastern and Clemson are now 3-1, they're still top echelon teams that they were competing against.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of like, I mean, Texas State or Texas Tech, Wisconsin, Clemson, Northeastern, not necessarily teams I would have put in the top 4. or in a 4-0 club, or even like a strong winning situation. But here they are. But as we get into the rest of the 3-0 matchups, it's interesting to see more of those names kind of bubbling up. I think we mentioned this last episode, and this just really kind of reiterates that idea that we are starting to see esports clubs that have a precedent of success in Rainbow Six over the last 2 years now. We've got Akron, of course. Akron, they're still riding high off of their winter or their fall season victories. Now they've stumbled in CEA and CRSL, but they seem to be doing okay in CR6. Now they are up against Mississippi State Esports, so I'm going to have to admit I like Mississippi State Esports Club as a whole. I know their president, their vice president, their former president. I've talked to them several times, and they're just a great group of students, and they go beyond what I've heard of a lot of other university clubs doing. So I have to root for them in this matchup, but my gut is telling me that Akron's going to win. So Akron has a current round differential of 27, while Mississippi State has 20. So it's a pretty close matchup overall. I don't know the overall strength of the opponents that they've had to face up to this point, but Mississippi State proving not to be any slouches at this point. CU Boulder Black, another very familiar name, going up against University of Texas San Antonio AA team. UTSAA is also a familiar name with CU Boulder Black. CU Boulder, I think they tripped at the finish line in like the semifinals, maybe the quarterfinals last season for CR6, but they were up there with Akron, near perfect all the way through. I think CU Boulder Black was actually the team that gave Texas A&M their first loss of the season last season. Do you remember? I think that was Texas A&M's Maroons' first loss.
When? Last season?
Yeah, during the fall.
It was during semis, I think. Their first loss? I think it was during semis.
And I think it was Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So CU Boulder Black is a very competent team. Absolutely.
It was against Simon Fraser.
Oh, it was Simon. That's right. There was that upset.
Yeah.
But CU Boulder Black also got upset. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So two top teams that just kind of fizzled out for one reason or another. So here we are again. CU Boulder Black 3-0. UTSA also 3-0. CU Boulder Black only has a round differential of 17. UTSA 27. I think once we start getting to that mid-20s, you start seeing some insane skill levels coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I still have Boulder taking this matchup just because they have that history, but I also have that creeping suspicion that UTSA is better now than they've ever been. University of British Columbia, or go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Third matchup, University of British Columbia Gold, round differential 17. Another team that's kind of been, I would say, lower upper echelon or higher middle echelon, kind of trying to crack into that top 18. And then Grand Canyon University Purple, their A team, round differential 31. GCU has been historically really good, easily in that top 18 slot every season that I've been covering Collegiate Rainbow Six. They've been a talented group all the way around, and I think last season they didn't finish as strongly as they wanted in the fall, but clearly they're coming out strong. A round differential 31 up against these top teams, basically. They're going to really prove themselves. Like overall, there's like 14 teams going into this week that were 3-0. By the end of it, we're only going to have 7 who are 4-0. or 7 or 8 who are 4-0. I guess 8. So, like, we're going to be really isolating who's the best of the best very quickly. But GCU is still in the running, as is UBC Gold. I have to give this one to GCU personally.
To GCU?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
After that, we have Longhorn Gaming, Orange, another Texas school. Round differential 34. Guys, we have to stop getting better at some point. Like, this is just these matchups. If they're 34 rounds ahead of all of their opponents in total, like, these must have been like 7-1 matchups, 7-0 matchups. Like, how do you do that to teams that are historically winning?
So Longhorn Game is actually UT's main campus. So that's like actual University of Texas, and then UTSA is the San Antonio satellite.
I mean, I've said it a number of times. I've said it on my other podcasts. Texas is a scary state to deal with in esports. The South entirely, but Texas is just a whole different beast.
Yeah. Texas, for some reason, likes their esports.
Oh, man. They have latched onto it more so than I thought any other state would have. I thought, like, personal bias and everything. Like, I lived in Oklahoma for a number of years, and my uncle was in Texas, so it was just like, okay, I can understand Texas culture and everything, and they are so adamant about football. I thought there's no way that they could extend it anywhere else. No, they're just adamant about competition, period. That's how I've had to change my mindset.
Yeah.
And so I almost feel bad for their opponents. Oregon State University. Like, Oregon State University, where the hell did you come from? You've not been anywhere near the top in the last 2 years, and here you are, round differential 17, matching University of British Columbia, matching CU Boulder Black, and beating out even Wisconsin, who's been around for like really kind of trying to clutch up and be with the big dogs and everything, but they've earned that spot. OSU just kind of came out of nowhere and said, "This is mine." Right? So I feel bad that they have to be the ones to go up against Longhorn, because I've talked to a couple of the guys over at OSU, and they're great. Their Call of Duty team is phenomenal. Huge dark horses, and I imagine their Rainbow Six is acting very similarly. So my hope is that this is a really close game, but the fact that Longhorn is double their round differential of OSU, I don't have much hope.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I knew more about the players to go into this. Like, but if we talked about every 3-0 matchup at the beginning of the season and we wanted to talk players, we would be here all night. So I'm kind of grateful that we don't have much more context to go over.
I wish I had more VODs to watch, then I could actually talk about the players.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm going to go on a little tangent right now. If we took the production of CRSL, the structure of CEA, and the sheer volume of teams who care about CR6, and we merged them into one super league, Ubisoft would have no choice but to acknowledge that league and be like, we want you to run our collegiate.
That'd be pretty awesome. And also, yeah, I agree.
Like, there's so many. Each of these leagues are doing something right. They're doing something that is striking well. They just don't do everything well, and it's killing me. It's killing me.
One of these leagues needs to like realize this and then like copy the other two leagues' strengths and put them as their strengths, you know.
Or
you can't really copy the sheer volume of supporters, but you can copy like organization or like no, what was the other thing you said?
Oh, I was going to say, just like put your ego aside and say we want to help you, and
Oh,
be
work
like,
together in these
yeah, and work
leagues.
together.
That's
Be
also a good idea.
like, be like CR6, like we don't have the production staff to do all these streams. CRSL, help us. And then it's like, boom, okay, CR6 merges to CRSL, done.
Yeah, but also every but all the nobody wants to share the recognition. So like
Right.
if one of their leagues blows up, they want to be the ones to say I created that league.
It's exactly the same as the fighting game scene, fighting game community. If you're trying to organize a local and you happen to step on the same day as another event, you will be attacked and hounded, and you will be like, it's like angry dogs of packs of dogs, just like, you're on my territory, bark bark bark, get away from us, like you have no right to do this, even though you're just trying to do something to make things better. And
Yeah.
I really hope that these three leagues and any other leagues that try and spin up, that they can find a way to work together. Collegiate scheduling is already hard enough as it is, but to have each other being territorial, uh, that doesn't help anyone. And I understand competition among the leagues, trying to make something the best and do things that's best for your league, and I totally get that, and this should be inspiring everyone to do better, but so far it just seems fragmenting, not improving.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm off my soapbox, off my tangent, back to the matchups. UCCS Gold, I couldn't find who this is. Oh, University of Colorado Springs, that's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Came back to me.
Yeah.
Round differential 28, not who I was expecting really to be at this point. I think my guess is that they picked up a player or two who really is really able to run and gun. Like someone brought some gun skills, because the tactical play just isn't there unless you're a top tier team. So the main differential, and from my perspective, is being able to pick up someone who knows how to frag out. Would you agree for the collegiate scene?
Say that one more time. My computer was freaking out.
Sorry. I was saying that UCCS must have picked up someone or a couple of someones who were better at fragging out, because in the collegiate space, fragging out is going to be more of a differentiator than a strong tactical play, unless you're already at that top tier play like Akron, like Texas A&M, like CU Boulder Black, like those final teams, or the teams who went undefeated all the way up through the playoffs until they finally lost in the final tournament, right?
Yeah. In collegiate, I think strong fragging power is going to be superior to a tactical approach, because a lot of these teams are focusing a lot on their strategies, and that's good. I respect that, but they're not practicing very much on their ability to kill the other players. So, I mean, your strategy doesn't mean much if you're not winning your. In esports, we like to use the term "winning our ones," which means you winning your one-on-one, your 1v1s, your gunfights. So if you're not winning your ones, then your strategies don't mean anything. And so the teams that are really strong gunfighters can go in and just knock that strategy down like a domino house. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what's going on.
And I mean, Rainbow Six is an entirely different beast than games like Counter-Strike and Fortnite and a lot of the other first-person shooters going on, because the value of a gadget, the value of a specific operator in your tactics as well as your overall strategy, if you lose them before you can utilize their value, it is such a detriment to that round. And First Bloods, just like every other I mean, first bloods are incredibly important. So when you tack on the incredible value each operator brings to an overall plan and strategy, when you might not have the opportunity for someone to even pull in a soft second of being able to do the same role, like that's absolutely killer for momentum. It's killer for any sort of establishment or morale bonus at all.
Mm-hmm.
So going up against UCCS, who we're assuming has some bigger fraggers on their team now, they're going up against University of Central Florida Black, so they're a team as well.
That'll be good.
That'll be a really good match. And UCF's round differential 34, matching Longhorn Gaming. So seriously, two very heavy hitting teams at this point. They are, if it's not like two maps of 7 to 5, I'll be surprised.
I'm gonna do some math here. So they've got a round differential of 34, and they've played 4 matches. They're 4-0.
They're 3-0, and this will be their 4th match.
Okay, so 3-0, right? So since you can tie, so there's a possibility of what, 12 rounds per game, per match?
Yeah.
Or per map. And they're playing one map, or are they playing two maps? They're playing 2 maps, so 12.
Actually, I think CR6.
I think it's best of 1 right now.
Yeah, it is best of 1.
Yeah, not until playoffs. I don't think they get into best of 3 until playoffs. And then the grand final is best of 5.
That can't be right. To have a round differential of 34?
No, it does. It means they've only dropped 2 rounds out of 3 matches. So 12 rounds, right? Or potentially, right? So assuming they win all 12 rounds, right? Well, if you went all 12 rounds, then you'd have tied. You wouldn't have won. So, assuming they won 7-6 or 7-5, what is that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I'm a hand guy. So 13 rounds. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they've only dropped like 2 rounds throughout all 3 matches.
Maybe I'm not understanding round differential then, because if they won 7 to 5, they only outscored their opponent by 2 rounds. So then the round differential of their opponent would be 2.
So they must be playing they must be playing 2 maps then.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be at least. It's got to be at least a best of 2. If not a best.
But it's best of 3. It's a best of 3 because if you win 2-0, it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so, maybe they're playing 2 maps, but they can tie. If one wins one, the other wins another, because there's tie points, right?
Well, actually, we answered our own question because Texas Tech beat Northeastern 2-0. So they're at least playing 2 maps, probably a 3rd map, because I think it's only CRSL who's doing best of 2 per map or per match.
Okay, so there's no ties in CR6?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. So if they're doing best of 3, right? Was it 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 3 is 24, 48, 72 rounds total.
If it had to go that far.
Yeah, so assuming they've won 2-0 every single game, which I'm assuming they have.
14, 28, 42.
So it's 24.
So out
Well,
of
it's 12, 24, 20. It's 72 rounds total. Yeah, because they won 2 maps. I don't know. There's so many variables. You can't really do the math. No, it didn't matter. But
they're
34.
kicking ass.
Yeah, a plus 34 round differential is really good. So,
And they're not the only teams with 34. So one of the other matchups, so UCCS Gold versus UCF Black, that's going to be a really good matchup. I put my faith more in UCF Black just because they've had a history of being in the top teams for the last 2 years. I mean UCF has been around. UCCS, I want to say that they were lower mid tier a year ago, but they've clearly done some work and improved or gained some new roster members who have helped them out. The next matchup to go with the round differential 34 club, Boston College. I cannot remember where Boston was in the fall or even the year prior. So to see them with a round differential 34, it's impressive, absolutely.
Boston College, I remember, they've been around since I started playing, since I was playing. They've been around for a couple seasons, probably 2 or 3 now. I remember them being pretty good.
Okay.
I think they made it to playoffs. I don't remember how far exactly they made it, but I know they made it to at least playoffs in every single season. They kind of they formed a team and then they joined CR6, and then like they were kind of a powerhouse, right off the bat. It wasn't like a new team starting. Like they had formed a team, I think, of all like really good players, and then they had made it pretty far.
I gotcha. I mean, that makes sense. And like the fact that you can recall them just kind of goes to show that like they've been around, they've been doing a lot of good work, and they've just been part of the scene. So maybe this is just the time that they're due, and they've hit their stride at this point. But they are up against Northern Arizona University, whose round differential 21, not nearly as good, but still you're looking at that 20 mid 20 club of round differential, so they've smacked their opponents around pretty good.
Yeah.
And whether or not they gave up rounds because they were trying something different, because they had a comfortable lead and they felt like doing something different, or they decided to have fun, that kind of stuff, it's hard to say. But I mean, 21 is nothing to laugh at by any means. Now, I don't really know anything about either of these clubs, so to me, it's a toss-up of who could win this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see who wins it, because yeah, it's kind of like flipping a coin for those two teams.
Now, my favorite matchup, and this is what I'm calling my match of the week, and you'll be excited about this. CSULB, so California State University, Long Beach, round differential 35 versus
35. Oh.
Texas A&M Maroon.
Oh, revenge match.
So round differential 21 for Texas A&M, and so there's definitely history between these two teams. So this was even the season before I started Check Your Six podcast. Texas A&M and CSULB, they were knocked out in separate rounds by the two teams. So it was basically third and fourth overall. And so they were very much tight with each other. And then the first year I covered CR6, I believe CSLB knocked out Texas A&M in the the finals.
In the quarterfinals. Yeah, they knocked us out in the quarterfinals. That was the season I first started playing. They knocked us out in the quarterfinals. And they beat us hard. Like there was like nothing we could do against them. And then that next season, we came back and we absolutely annihilated them. I don't know what the difference was. Maybe we just got better, or maybe they just didn't practice, or could have been a little bit of both. But we had come back with the same players,
Yep.
But we came back and we just absolutely stomped them, and then ended up stomping the victors of the first season,
Right.
uh, UCSD.
So we are continuing that tradition. Like, to me, this is now my favorite grudge match. Like, I don't know if there's any actual like animosity or rivalry when you talk to the teams about this matchup, but I've seen it enough times and even gone back to history before I was even watching this stuff or paying attention to it to see that it was still there. So I'm excited about this matchup because this is the start of potentially something like CR6 can really latch onto. Any of these college leagues could really latch onto is like the bad blood CSULB versus Texas A&M. Like, it's just an exciting matchup, and these teams have been really good historically, really good, and at the top of these leagues. So they know what they're doing. They know how to play this game. They're tactical, they're strategic, and they're fraggers. So anyone can clutch up and pull out a crazy play, anything. So this is just one I'm hoping gets streamed or that there's a VOD of for me to watch. So that's my match of the week. It's hard for me to give an edge out to someone, but I think I have to go CSULB because that round differential 35 just says they are so damn strong.
Yeah.
And that's CR6. Like, to me, that is a successful week when I can look at that and be like, there is some meat here. There are matchups to be excited about, and these are teams that are proving their worth and they're proving that they're at the top of this league. So I mean, that's what is that? That's 7, 8, 9, 8, 18 teams right here. 18 teams that are giving us a story, that are giving us matchups to talk about, who are proving that when you watch these matchups, you are going to see good gameplay. You're not going to be seeing David and Goliath just stomp on everyone and just be like, well, that's how we saw it happening even before the matchup started. These are games that could go any way, and the only reason why you would pick one team or another is because you know a history about them already. God, I love CR6. When this stuff lines up, it just feels so good to talk about it. I might just be the nerdiest collegiate esports fan out there.
And collegiate esports is fun because like it's this growing I don't know, it's like this growing entity, and like there's so much potential within it, and not everybody has kind of climbed on board yet, but like I think whenever it explodes, I just can't wait to see everyone's like reaction and like future support for this in
And
esports.
I mean, now is a crazy time with all the traditional sports being canceled, with school being canceled, and these leagues like CR6, CRSL, CEA operating outside of school schedules, but they've already validated who are students. They can keep running this stuff. Twitch and YouTube are probably going to have some of their biggest weeks in the following few weeks for esports. It's going to be insane. And like, even the NBA is directing teams to watch the NBA 2K or the 2K league, which is crazy. And so this is going to be a hugely formative time, and a time when there's a lot of scrutiny on this. So whether it's really prevalent up front, or if you're in the back channels or like in any of the esports leadership discords that I'm in, there's going to be conversations about this, which I'm nerding out again. I'm sorry. This is my jam. This is what I do in my off time. So I'm gushing. I apologize. Anyways, CRSL, I found some standings, so this is good. I found some match history, but I can't go into a whole lot of it because honestly, it's kind of hard to make heads or tails of some of it. But what we can say, we've got 4 groups in CRSL. These are the So we had the trials, and then the 2 qualifiers from DreamHack Anaheim, and the 2 invitees who were the first place and second place team from last season, to create our 32 teams in this invite league, divided up into 4 different groups of 8 teams. We can look at seeing that, and this is where the problem is with the data with CRSL. It's not up to date. They're in their 3rd week of matches, and it doesn't look like anyone on this website has played their 3rd match. And there's some teams who are registering as 0 games played, while others have 2 games played, others have 1 game played. And so it's really hard to actually put a lot of faith in these ranks. So it's hard to say. But for the teams who are 2-0, the teams who are at the top, I feel comfortable even commenting on this. So New York Tech, they've been around. They've been a pretty good team. I could see how they might do well against some of these other teams that honestly I haven't heard of some of them. So in their group, UNC Charlotte, good team. Miami University, I think that they're an okay team. Wilfrid Laurier University, never heard of them, so I don't know how that's going to go. Sheridan, they've been a competitive team for sure. I think they've had hot and cold spots. Humber R6, haven't seen them. OTU Aqua, Ohio Tech, Oregon Tech, I don't know, so hard to say. And then Norwich, they've been around, they've been doing okay, or they were better in the fall of 2019, or sorry, fall of 2018 than they were this last year, or they're doing right now. They're 0-2. So I can see why New York would be at the top of that list in that group. Charger Blue, so Group B of the left bracket, as it is codenamed. Charger Blue, they've been coming out swinging in a number of leagues, so I don't know what school they actually represent, but they're always Charger Blue. For some reason, Boise is coming to mind. I don't know why, but 2-0 there.
Boise. You said Boise?
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so there you go. Longhorn Gaming, so round differential of 30 some in CR6. They're only listed at a 1-0 team. They might be on par with Charger Blue, just don't know. So same group: Louisiana Lafayette, LSU, Texas A&M Maroon, the AFK Experience. We've talked about that team a couple times. I think
the AFK Experience.
I think that was a Northern Arizona University team.
Yeah, it was.
And then Arizona State University Gold, and University of Texas San Antonio A. And we were just talking about UTSA A in CR6 being a highly competitive team, and yet here they are 0-2. They are the bottom of their group. So did they get lucky in some of their matchups in CR6? Hard to say. But with 140 teams, and where they're only just playing the winners of each round, basically at this point, it's possible that they've gotten lucky. 0-2 in a team or in a group that has Arizona State, Northern Arizona, Texas, Louisiana Lafayette, Longhorn, and Charger Blue. I could believe that team UTSA is 2-0 in that group. I could believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But the data doesn't give me anything to really latch onto. The names are, which is just what we have to live with. I really like that group. That seems like a group of death to me. I would not want to be playing in that group.
Yeah, no, I don't want to play in that group either.
That's a scary group, right?
Yeah.
Moving on to Group A from the right bracket. I love these names. Auburn University 2-0. They've been around. They've been okay-ish, if memory recalls. FIU 1-0. Yeah, they've been good. University of Akron Gold. Yeah, there's Akron sitting 1-1 in that group. Bulin Bearcats. You looked them up last time. I don't know where they're from. I can't remember.
I still don't know either.
University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Orange, 1-1. Okay, University of Tennessee's been around. I think that's about right where they belong. Uh, Virginia Commonwealth University, sitting at 0-0-0. I don't know what they're doing.
0-0-0.
Yeah. Wisconsin Red, 0-1, so one loss, and yet they are one of our undefeated 4-0 teams in CR6. And then Elon. I don't know who Elon is. I don't know if this is an AFK experience naming themselves off of Elon Musk, or if there is an actual Elon University, but shorthand they're just Elon. But they're 0-2, so I can't be surprised with that. Their name certainly doesn't mean much to me at this point. And then going into Group B of the right bracket, Colorado, Frost. I'm guessing that's just a color differentiator. So Colorado, is that University of Colorado Boulder? Colorado Springs? Is this their main campus? I don't know, but they're 2-0. And I haven't seen them anywhere else. Northern Arizona University Gold, 2-0 in that group. University of Utah. I don't think Utah's been really anywhere on the map in CR6 the last 2 years. They've been
I don't think so either.
But they haven't really been a contender. They're 1-0 at this point. Okay, you're going to have to help me with this one. CGC UIC SOL.
What in the world?
CGC space UIC space SOL. I don't know. They're 1-1. They must be doing all right.
They actually have there's a VOD. I found a VOD on YouTube.
What the hell?
Of them versus Colorado Frost from Space Productions.
Yep, that would be them. That would have been last week.
I didn't know that. I need to. Let's see how many videos. Space. Wow. Okay, they actually have.
They put up VODs of every single match.
Okay, I need to go back to that. I'm gonna save this YouTube channel because I need to go back. I'm gonna go watch them. But yeah, it doesn't say it does. It says like CGC blah 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 versus Colorado Frost, but it doesn't actually. Yeah, there is no CIU. UIC SOL. What the freaking A?
Part of me hopes that SOL is their color name that a lot of other teams use, or like A and B. I just want them to be like the B team, and it's just like shit out of luck.
Okay, I think I found it. Competitive Gaming Club at UIC. So CGC UIC. So whatever UIC is.
Iowa? It's possible it's even just like a community college.
UIC College. University of Illinois Chicago.
There we go. Okay, Illinois Chicago. They've been around. They've done well.
What does SOL stand for?
Shit out of luck as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that is. I like it.
Yeah, so I mean, like this is part of my problem with collegiate, and overall, CRSL. I remember they did a really good job of outlining the team name, the team acronym, the school that they're for, but that data is just not accessible while you're looking at their matchups and their brackets and everything. Part of these names just need to be always identifiable, period.
Yeah.
But I mean, and going back to the problem with these leagues, is that like CRSL is not updating their data. So like the website from week 1 is missing results from 2 of their matchups. Week 2 is missing 1 of their matchups, while week 3 is already recorded 1 of their matchups. And one of the matchup that's missing from week 2, ASU Maroon versus University of Utah, they don't have that result for week 2, but University of Utah has already recorded their matchup for this week. And University of Utah is missing their data from week 1. So where is it? When can we get consistent data? This is what I'm saying when I'm talking about the weaknesses of each of these leagues. They each have something that they're stumbling on, and there's something that another league is doing well or better than another league. So it's more of that. So CGC, UIC, SOL in the middle of the pack. UCI, so University of California, Irvine, they've always been around. ASU Maroon, 0-1. Texas Tech University, another 4-0 team in CR6, is 0-2 in CRSL. And that's against University of Texas San Antonio B team. That's against ASU Maroon, UCI White, University of Utah, Northern Arizona University, Colorado Frost. Like, how are these teams beating Texas Tech when they are beating other dominant teams in CR6? Different day, any given Sunday type mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it for CRSL. I really hope that they can get their data really sorted out so that we can really comment on how these teams are performing in each of their divisions and what it means looking as we go towards their playoffs. Now, season 2 for CRSL is, let me bring up the format again, see how many more weeks of group play we have. So this is week 3, it goes through March 15th. So some of these teams have until, what is that, Sunday? Yeah, Sunday to record their matchups for week 3. But we have 6 more weeks, or 5 more weeks of group stage. So these groups of 8 will be playing each other. They will play everyone once and then one match, I believe, outside of their division, which is great. I love that cross play. So we will see how that all pans out. And then it's, what is it? Top 4 teams advance to play-ins. So if you're not in the top 4, you're out. And that's how it's running. So I believe any team that goes 0-3 is likely to be out. 0-2, you're likely to either just barely make the cut through round differential or whatever tiebreaker CRSL is using, or just be out. So that's a little scary. So that's 5 more weeks there, and then playoffs are 2 weeks through. That will take us through May, basically. So lots of CRSL to go through. The CEA. The browser's being weird. 1 second. I got all my PC parts sitting right next to me.
They're not in your computer? They're just sitting next to you?
I got my case this afternoon, and I had my motherboard and processor show up yesterday. And then I realized I forgot to order the thermal paste, so I have to wait until tomorrow.
Oh, you just go to Best Buy and buy some. I think they sell Arctic Silver there.
I mean, it's being delivered at like 8 a.m. tomorrow, so I got it.
Oh.
I just had to wait for it, and it's just like, I was going to put it together right after this episode, but no such luck tonight because I spaced it. But and I mean, like, I'm looking at Discord right now as we're recording, and I see my face all choppy and ugly, and it's gross, and I'm like, oh my god, quality, you're killing me. But it will be a thing of the past.
Can't wait till next week when you have all that new stuff and everything is perfect quality.
Oh my god. Well, it's still gonna be my hokey disco or my hokey graphics and everything, and trying to make it look good. But
Yeah, but at the same time, like the podcast and you streaming everything, like the new processor is gonna really help with that.
and then I can actually get back to streaming too. I've been missing even just playing for shits and giggles some Fortnite and just going in and being weird about going into squads as a solo and making it to the top 10 is such a thrill for me. It's so good.
Honestly, like uh you can go to Fortnite and then you can just like run around. Like I feel like half the time I never like see anyone, and then like before I know it, it's already like 8 people left. I'm just like, I haven't seen a single person. There's already like 8 people left.
See, that's my strategy. I always go where nobody goes, and then I'm just like a field mouse hopping from building to building, like no confrontation whatsoever.
See, the thing I hate about Fortnite is you never see anyone, right? Until it's like 10 people left, and then the first person you come across, Bill, like you see them, they see you, and with like nanoseconds, they've got like this fortress built, and you're just like,
Right.
I give up, dude. Like this guy obviously is gonna kill me. Like just doesn't even want a gunfight, dude. He just instant like just builds like this 10 story tall castle. Just like
Yep.
just gunfight me, dude. Just gunfight me. Just
Just
don't even
gunfight me,
build anything.
please. Let's see. Let's see. CEA. So I like their stats setup. It's kind of a little wonky still, and they have some different rules for how they score everything. So I would need to refresh on that before I'm comfortable saying how they're scoring everything. But if we want to look at the top teams, so we'll look at the I would we'll do top 5 with a guest star 6. So we'll do top 6. Number 1 at the moment, Rochester RIT. Like they've been competitive in other games. I can't remember how competitive they've really been in CR6. In CR6 or in Rainbow Six, I can't remember how well they've done in CR6. So right now they are at the top. They're top dogs. Round differential of 53.
Wow. Okay.
What? And of course, this is where everything falls down. The full list has different data than the group list. Now, I don't know if the group list is taking into account the cross division matches that everyone has played, one of so far, but it looks like round differential 53, which is just absurd. And it looks like all the teams in their group, the Percival group, so RIT, New York Tech, University of Maryland College Park, and North Carolina State University, they've all been playing their matches. They have all been stomped by Rochester, it looks like, or RIT. New York Tech is in second with 6 points and round differential 6. Maryland and North Carolina, they're in the negative round differential, so they are getting demolished by like -19, -22. They're being demolished, period. And I think if they scored any points, it's probably from their cross division playlist or their cross division matchup. Number 2, team overall, Pennsylvania State University. So first place in the Lancelot division. They are over the top of Rochester Institute of Technology, or RIT's B team. So RIT, 2 teams in this invite only league, which is impressive to say the least. Pennsylvania only around differential of 11. So it's Pennsylvania RITB, University of Florida, 4 points, round differential 2, and Ontario Tech University with -14. So that's OTU Aqua. So that was the Aqua team that we talked about.
Okay.
Ontario Technology. There you go. And this is why we need 3 different leagues to get all the right information about who the hell is playing. Anyways, so uh, third place overall, first place of the Mordred division, Carnegie Mellon. They've been good. They've had some success, making some runs into playoffs in CR6. So it's good to see them here again. Round differential 28, doing pretty well there. It's Mordred, so they're up against Rutgers University, University of Wisconsin. So that's Wisconsin Red, so 4-0 club in CR6. I think they were 0-2 in CRSL, and University, and here they are, third place overall, but they're only 1 point behind Carnegie Mellon and Rutgers, so it's a tight race in this group. And then there's George Mason University at -16 round differential with only 2 points. So they're, if they could turn it around and win handedly, they could be in the running for a second place or a first place run if they can turn around the rest of their matches. But that would be astronomically difficult for them to do so. Let's see. Then we have University of Akron in first place in the Galahad division, but that's fourth overall, and they don't have a lead whatsoever in this division. They're only up by 2 points. Their round differential is 14 versus Arizona State University's 3 points and 5 round differential. So Arizona State could easily make a move and surpass Akron in terms of points. Virginia Tech, 1 point, -19 round differential. The only reason why they're in third is because San Jose State University ended up disbanding, and so there is no team to fill that spot. So fourth place is just the team that's perpetually forfeiting. So that sucks, and that does compromise a little bit of the competition, but at the same time, seeing the difference between how Arizona is performing and how Virginia Tech is performing, there's no doubt that Virginia Tech's not going to be first or second place in that division.
Yeah.
So then let's see. After Akron in fourth, you have University of Wisconsin Madison, so Wisconsin Red in fifth place, and guest starring, I called them out in the CRSL as the top of their division, New York Tech, 8 points, tied with University of Wisconsin. They have a negative round differential, which I find to be pretty funny. But here they are, top 6 overall, and it's all about the points. In this league, it's definitely all about the points. They have a weird setup where you can tie, where tying and then winning is a different point value than tying and losing, and tying and tying, and winning is different than losing and losing. Like, there's different points for whatever however the best of two lands itself. So it's pretty peculiar, but it's bringing out some interesting point totals. So like 17.3 for RIT and 13.3 for Pennsylvania State, and then a 3-way tie for 8th, 9th, and 10th place at 6.7 points. How that all works out, I don't really know.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's something to look into. It looks like one thing I do like about CEA and how they're portraying these stats is that they're telling you how many matches each team has played. So University of Akron, being that they're in Galahad where San Jose dropped, you know that they're only going to have 6 matches total. And then the other teams, they're going to have 8 matches. So it's going to be weird how they match that up. But I can see that RIT has played 5 of their 8 matches, while University of Florida has only played 4 of their 8. So given that collegiate scheduling is a little wonky and it's whatever best fits each team, this kind of helps give you that incremental progress of where these teams are in their schedule and in this season, as opposed to like how we're waiting for CRSL and CR6 to be like, okay, end of the week is Sunday, you can play your match anytime in between there, and we don't know when we're going to have data to commentate on that week, really. So it's a little different formatting, but it's another piece of data that I do appreciate, so that we can talk through the season and what these teams have ahead of them. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we're going to be going through more of, like, we have 5 more weeks of CRSL. We have, I believe, what are we? 4 weeks into CR6, so we have another 4 weeks before we go into group or into phase 2, I believe. And then CEA goes through Invite League week 8, goes through the end of March, and it doesn't look like they've populated April yet, or maybe it's just slow. Yeah, there we go. So it'll go into the quarterfinals into April. So through the end of this month, we will find out who's going into playoffs for CEA. And then by the end of April, we will have the Spring League Championship. So we're like a quarter of the way through the season, which is pretty good. I'm hoping to catch some more matchups. I've been enjoying seeing more of the notifications from all 3 of the leagues saying that they're streaming more matches and showing off what they've got, and more of that publicity for each of the teams. So Texas A&M, Akron, New York Tech, CGC, UIC, SOL, like even they get an opportunity to be called out in a couple of leagues now, or Ontario Tech. Like more leagues mean more matches streaming, which means we actually get more context on each of these teams. So if one league can't stream everything and have a bunch of games for everyone, then we lean on multiple leagues to run a few streams each week, which to me is fine by me. Of course, the only thing that would help would be more teams streaming their matches, but I also understand the competitive edge that takes away.
You said more teams streaming their matches?
Yeah. And broadcasting it, like really advertising that they are streaming their matches. That would be like the most important bit, is like really putting it out there that they are doing stuff, which is another soapbox for me, but I won't get into it. Seeing as we've gone quite long already today, we've had some tangents and some other details going on, which, hey, maybe it's a good thing Pro League's not back, because then we would be running into like 2-hour episodes.
Oh, I know.
Gonna have to get our ESPN like matchups decided and discussed in 15 seconds or less.
Yeah, we're gonna have to condense our data down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just start doing some more research ahead of time. But it's really hard because with these other leagues formatting their data and having their VODs and the schedules being weird, it's really hard to compile something consistently in a timeline that also works for you and I to put together. So I mean, there was a huge conversation today about collegiate esports scheduling. Like, it's all over the place. And if you're looking at leagues like these 3 leagues that are outside of school bounds and they're not part of like a conference or anything, it just makes it even more difficult to really organize and really compensate and accommodate for the school schedules that each of these schools have, that are that vary wildly from one another. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but like we'll do the best we can for sure.
Yeah.
Well, any thoughts on any of the collegiate stuff? I know I kind of just went through matchups and results at the moment, but like we talked about it a little bit last week, where these schools and some of these names are becoming prevalent across these leagues and are becoming like top tier names.
Yeah, I mean, I totally had something to say and I'm brain farted. These teams coming in, honestly, like, it's really surprising with these new teams coming in and then just being powerhouses. I mean, I guess I can't really be surprised. I mean, the chances are that, like, a couple of schools are going to have like good players, and they're going to form a team and then come into the collegiate scene and start to dominate. But it's good to see um, good players come in and play collegiate instead of um, not playing collegiate because they don't think there's enough competition. Maybe. Um, because having all these good players in collegiate is going to give these lower level players more experience playing against high ranking individuals. And that's what they need because, these lower level people, they hate playing against high level people because they're like, oh, they stomp us all the time. Well, that's how you get better. You're not going to get any better by playing the same level, the same skill level as you. That's the reason that I got a lot better, is because I started playing. Yeah, I might get beat by I play in the platinum level, but I might get beat at by a bunch of diamonds, but that's okay to me because I learn from them. I take everything that they do, the places they kill me, the strategies they use against me, and I learn from it. And the more that I learn, the better I get. That's just how it works. You have to play those that are better than you.
And I mean, beyond just playing them, like you have to expose yourself to better players, because when you lose, they have that footage of what you lost to, and you have to be able to record it and review it. Like, which is why I'm excited that Rainbow Six is introducing replays coming sometime in the next year, because that's going to be something that raises the entire competitive scene a lot, in that they get to review even their ranked matches. They get to review anything that they play and have all the perspective that they need. And that's one thing that's just missing right now, is like everyone's having to piece together off of their performance and what they've happened to catch in a VOD by an outside observer, or just by someone else from their team who happens to be streaming or recording it at that time, not necessarily someone who is looking for what the opponents were doing and trying to really help improve your gameplay. Everything up to this point has been, how can you improve your play with imperfect data? Replays are going to be huge, and exposing yourself to losing and having that evidence and data to go off of to improve, it's going to bring CR6, CRSL, CEA to a whole different level as soon as there's replays, consistent replays.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid end note to go off of. So if there's anything else you want to say, I think now's the time to say it.
No, I don't think I have anything else.
Sweet. Me either. I'm done. Put a fork in me. It's Friday.
It is Friday.
Well, you have a nice Friday night. Enjoy some gaming. Enjoy some sleeping in, hopefully. I'm going to probably pass out and pray that my kids stay asleep. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening.
We'll see you next week.